So this is the second part in the YouTube series, and what we have so far right now is a movie that when we run it, goes out and gets the latest featured videos, and we trace out information for each video. And what we want to do is I want to put that information into this data grid that we have here. All right, and that data grid is called my grid. So let's take a look at that. What we're going to go through is putting information into a data grid. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to break out this loop that we have right now. So let's go back down and see how we do it. So we created the YouTube client. We asked for a standard feed. That was a method call. We added the listener for that, and that was do videos received. And in that was a video feed. That was one of the properties, and we have a special way of looping through a video feed and getting the information. So as we'll see with other ones, video feed is a basic feature of how this Flash API, Flash YouTube API works. So what I want to do actually is, instead of just tracing it out here, I'm going to create a separate function called show in grid. And it's going to get passed in a video feed and be able to show the videos in that feed. All right? And just as a way of checking that, I'm actually going to take out this information here. So that part, and I'm just going to paste it down into show in grid. So I just copied everything that we had before except for this setting of the feed. I'm going to paste it into show in grid like that, and then call that method. So this is also just a little refresher on methods. Show feed in grid. So show in grid, we're just calling the method and passing in feed. Now I happen to name it the same thing in both places, feed here and feed here, but those are actually two separate variables. So this should work the same way. We should be able to run this and see, here we go, there's the output, our videos. Okay, so the next part now is actually showing it in the grid. In order to do that, we need to set up some columns for the grid. So let's do that. So in here, that's what we're going to start. Set up columns for the grid. Alright, so the grid is actually named, let's go back here real quick. If we look in the properties of the grid, it's named my_grid. So my grid dot columns equals, and then this allows you to set columns for the grid. Title, oops, and they're in quotes. So I'm just going to do some here quick. Title, actual ID, and we'll look at why we're using that later. That's a new one. URL, view count, comment count, duration, and I think it's author. Alright, so the columns are just an array of columns. What we're doing here now is we're using these same things. Title, URL, view count, comment count, duration, author, and then I just added one more called actual ID that we're going to see in a second. And actually let's add actual ID in here into the trace. And we'll talk about that. So trace the actual ID, use this for the Chromeless player. So this is actual ID video.actual and then capital ID. So everything's lowercase except the I in this. It's hard to see here. It looks like two L's, but it's actually L capital I D. So let me just run this here real quick. Oops. I might have spelled that wrong. Hold on. Yeah, I did. A-C-U-T. A-C-T-U. Okay. I spelled it wrong here too. That doesn't matter, but here we go. Alright, so I had a compiler error on that. Okay, so now we have that here, and if we look at the YouTube, our video, we'll see here that we have those columns listed out. Okay, so now we want to put our data in those columns. And here's, see, by the way, here's the actual ID. This is what we'll use for the Chromeless player, that little number there. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to add columns as we go through. So as we go through here, we want to add a row, sorry, not column, row to the grid. Alright, and so we're going to do that using add item. My grid, add item. Now what you do is when you're adding an item, the easiest way to do it is actually to add it to an object, and we're going to use the shorthand property of an object. So there's add item method, and the way you add an object with the shorthand property is you use curly braces, and everything inside the curly brace gets a name, colon, value, and then comma for the next one. So for example, title, and then I'll pass in the title, video.title, and that gives us our video title. So if I run this, now we can see here, if I make this a little bit smaller, I think I need to make the whole thing also. I have all my titles in there in the grid. So I'm actually going to go through and add in the rest of them here. I'm going to just move this data grid up a bit just for now, so the screen is a little bit easier to see. Alright, and I'm going to actually do that by copying what we have here. So that was title. The next one is actual ID. Actual ID, colon, so it's name, colon, and then value, and the value is going to be these video values like that. And so the next one is going to be player URL. And we called that URL. So these are the names we have up here. Let me just take a little bit of space out here so we can see. So next one is URL, colon, the value is going to be this. So I'm going to go through and then comma for the next one. View count is my next column. And there's video view count. Oops, I forgot my colon. And then comma. And then it's comment count. And notice I'm not putting quotes around the names of the property. So this is really a property value. When you do an object this way, property value, property value. That was comment count. So I'm just putting these straight in without, I don't need quotes. And then what do we have after comment count? We had duration, colon, and then the value. There it is, video duration. And you could obviously use whatever you wanted to, whatever parts of the video you wanted to show for this. Oh, and I missed a V there when I was copying, and then author is the last one. Okay, so author, colon, and then video author's first name. There. Okay. So, now what we should have when we run this is our list of videos what's that in there? I must have spelled actual ID wrong in some place here, so we'll have to see. I probably spelled it wrong when I made the column. Yes, I kept spelling actual wrong, so let's recorrect that there. Right, so obviously those have to be the same, otherwise it won't show up. But the nice thing about that is it shows you that you can get things in there that are hidden if you want to as well. You can just put them in as properties and they'll be there, but they won't show up. Alright, so there we go. So now we have all of our data showing in a data grid. And the next one will be, how do we click on that and get a piece of information out of this data grid?